Hello and welcome to Leah Tries. Today I'm going to be talking about self-image and sharing a little bit about myself and my experiences. I've struggled with poor self-esteem and body image for most of my teenage years and early adult life. I've grown a lot since then, and I'm happy to report that my self-esteem is really good now and that I'm confident in who I am and what I look like. First of all, I want to preface this video by saying that it is aimed at a younger version of myself and that I have on more than one occasion gone on YouTube to find some answers about how to improve my self-esteem, and I struggle to find videos that truly help me to do that. Maybe this video will give you some answers about your own self-image or perhaps the behavior of someone you know. I think that many people don't even know how poor their self-esteem is and that they dislike themselves a normal amount. You should feel good about yourself and your body most of the time. Everyone has bad days and it's totally fine to not be 100% all the time, but you should be on the positive side of the spectrum when it comes to your body image. It's important to know that there's no such thing as a finish line when it comes to having a good self-esteem. There's no line you can cross or level that you can attain that will no longer require any effort from your side. You always have to work on how you see yourself, or your self-image will worsen again over time. Your self-image can be really difficult to change and manage. On the one hand, you want to accept yourself for who you are, and on the other hand, it's really important to try and better yourself every day. It's important to know that there's a huge difference between having goals to improve yourself and setting yourself up for failure. When I was in high school, I hated the way I looked, and the way I felt about my looks affected every part of my life. I believed that I was worth less than everyone else. I believed that I would never achieve as much as my friends, and I believed that I would never amount to anything. I thought I was a second-rate human being. It might seem a little bit dramatic now, and I never would have admitted to feeling this way at the time, but that's how I felt. I didn't study for tests, I created friendships that were toxic and draining, and when I started dating, I allowed myself to be treated badly. I didn't believe that I deserved good results, or to be treated well and with respect. It didn't matter how much people would hurt my feelings and walk all over me, I was just grateful for any time that anyone gave me. I was wrong about myself, and if you feel this way about yourself, you are wrong as well. I know that it's a tough pill to swallow from a stranger on the internet, but people don't see your flaws the same way you do. An exercise that I used to do in order to prove this to myself was to, when I looked in the mirror, I would blur my eyes. So I would blur it so that I could still see myself, but just so that I couldn't see that it was me. And this basically helped me to see how critical I was on myself and how much more critical I was of myself than I was of other people. Because when I looked in the mirror with my eyes blurred, where I could barely even tell that it was me, I didn't think that I looked bad when I pretended that my actions were the actions of a friend or the actions of someone that I didn't know or someone walking down the street. If I judged other people the way I judged myself, I'd see the world in a completely different way. And by adjusting the way that I see myself and trying to view myself from an external perspective, and it helped me to see that I wasn't as bad as I thought I was. So here are some examples of my poor self-image and how it has affected me. It took me a really long time to figure out how to love myself, and I want to share some tips and tricks to getting to know and appreciate yourself more. This is something that I think affects everyone at some point in their life. Wanting to look better. This could mean wanting to lose or gain weight, wanting a different nose or jawline, wanting more or less facial hair, or whatever you think you need in order to be more attractive. The truth is that no matter how much you hate your body, you only have one, and it's your responsibility to look after it regardless of what that means to you. I mention this because often in my life I've used my poor self-image as an excuse to not take care of myself. I would eat whatever I want and never exercise. I felt like it would be pointless to try because I would just embarrass myself when I failed. My best advice to you if you're struggling with your body image is to take care of your body as best as you can. If you feel better physically, you'll feel better mentally. Which is why it's so important to evaluate yourself and your choices in order to avoid living your life trying to outrun your shortcomings. This goes back to something that I mentioned earlier, and it is to appreciate the good parts that you have instead of focusing on the bad. So I started learning how to find the good in myself the same way I try to find it in other people. And this may seem really tough to do, especially if you are in a really bad place. I know that I've gone through times where I couldn't point out a single good thing about myself, and I know how hard it is to pick yourself up from that point. A way of doing this could be to find a YouTube channel or an article dedicated to what you're dealing with and find out what other people with the same doubts are thinking and doing. Knowing that you're not alone is really comforting, and it helps you to realize when you're being hard on yourself. One benefit of growing up in the age of internet and information is that you will find someone who's just like you in one way or another. You just need to keep an eye out and an open mind. An example of someone who helped me to feel more confident is Sierra Schultzzie. Her channel focuses on dressing for a curvier figure, and she's not only taught me how to dress better and more flattering for my body, but she's also showed me how someone curvy could be happy and confident and beautiful. I will link her channel below, and she's really awesome. If you have a curvy figure like me, definitely check her out. Here's my next piece of advice that will hopefully help you to accomplish some of the other tips that I have here, and that is to question and check up on yourself. It may seem confusing, but when you feel bad about and in your body, there's a big chance that the feeling isn't purely psychological. If you eat wrong, too much or too little, it will affect the relationship that you have with your body. Low blood sugar, bloating, and nutrient deficiencies can all have a profound effect on your attitude towards yourself. And when you don't exercise, you might feel lethargic and demotivated. These are all examples from my own experiences, so if you need to, you should definitely seek a professional to help you with any or all of these symptoms. I know that for my body, being healthy and looking after myself made a massive difference in how I felt. Exercising gives me a feeling of satisfaction and accomplishment, and it helps me to remember that I deserve to feel good in my own skin, and so do you. Furthermore, you might be feeling unmotivated in your professional life or rejected in your social life. These are all things that we tend to load onto our shoulders, and we use these events to criticize ourselves. So the next time you're feeling down on yourself, try to analyze yourself mentally and figure out if this unhappiness you're directing towards yourself isn't stemming from another problem in your life. Comparison is the death of joy. Just because a peach tastes good doesn't make a strawberry taste less good. But there's a misconception that one good can take away from another, and that simply isn't true. Just because your friend's pretty doesn't make you less pretty. So don't let your happiness depend on how much you measure up to some other people. Relationships. Poor self-image not only affects the relationships you lose, but also the relationships that you make. I personally believe that if someone abandons you because you feel bad about yourself, they don't deserve a place in your life. But it's important to know when you are pushing people away because you are self-destructive. I've lost and or left friends behind because I thought that they were unsupportive, when in reality I was looking for more than they were able to give. My poor self-image caused me to believe that they thought that I was nothing, when in reality the only person who thought I was nothing was me, and I needed to punish someone. Letting people exit your life because they don't make you feel good about yourself is your prerogative. When you lose a relationship because of a self-esteem problem, it can be really easy to punish yourself for it, and it feels like you made a mistake. Just because someone treats you badly doesn't mean you don't love them or that you didn't love them at one point, but you need love too, and you deserve it. But it's your life, and you have a right to say about who's in it. Fill your life with people who support you, and it will help you to make an internal change about how you see yourself. But it's extremely important to know how to forgive yourself for making mistakes. Hindsight can be a hell of a tool to hurt yourself with, so don't fall into the trap of thinking that you could have seen it coming somehow. You need to accept the support and the help when it's offered. Talk to people and get out of your head. One of the more dangerous effects of poor self-image, in my opinion, is the relationships you form when you're in a bad mental space. When you don't know your own worth, you settle for subpar behavior. I have been in damaging romantic and non-romantic relationships because of this. It started with me deciding that beggars couldn't be choosers, and I classified myself as a beggar. I would accept any and all behavior, regardless of how hurtful it was towards me. Even now, I still have difficulty taking up space in my relationships, and by relationship space, I'm referring to energy and time spent. For example, I would never want anyone to spend any effort or time on me. I allowed this to happen by always offering to drive to people's places, and I would go out of my way to drive others around. I would buy people who spend time with me gifts to show my appreciation for their time and attention, because I didn't think I deserved it, so I would spend all my money on collecting these things for people. I would buy them drinks at bars, I would pay for their food when we went out, and if I saw something I knew a friend liked, I would buy it for them. I would essentially put other people's wants above my own needs, and one could even argue that it sounds virtuous, or at least that's what I would tell myself. But let me be very clear about this. There is nothing virtuous about letting people treat you badly. You might be compromising yourself one way or another for people to prove yourself to them. Not everyone who's insecure acts this way, but that's what I did, and that's something that you might be doing, and if you are doing it, own it and change it. We are better than that. We are better than trying to prove ourselves constantly to people who aren't listening anyway. You deserve to have people spend time and effort on you. You deserve to be made to feel special and worthy. Anyone who doesn't agree with that, or who doesn't want to afford you that privilege, does not deserve a place in your life. Remember that the responsibility to change how you think and feel about yourself is yours. You cannot rely on a partner or a friend to change your self-esteem. Goal setting can be really tough when you have low self-esteem. It takes place in so many parts of your life, and when your self-image is bad, it can have a profound effect on what you want and are able to achieve. My low self-esteem made it really difficult for me to get motivated and to be healthy because I felt like I was a lost cause. I lost confidence in my ability to study and make sound financial choices and to navigate my relationships. It felt like the world was against me and I was born to fail. I failed to see any of my achievements, even though my life wasn't the train wreck I saw it was, and my mentality gave me the results I focused on. Don't get me wrong, you definitely should try to learn from your mistakes, but focusing on your failure is just another staff to measure yourself by, and that isn't fair. It wouldn't be fair to judge someone by only looking at their failures, so don't do that to yourself. Try to have some faith in yourself. No one is successful all the time, and the people who claim they are liars. So to end off this video, I just want to add as a side note that I've drawn from my own lessons and things that have worked for me. I'm not a professional at dealing with low self-esteem, and this video isn't about replacing a therapist. If your self-esteem is interrupting your ability to live your life the way you want to, please seek help. I am not ashamed to admit that I frequently see a psychologist and that my experience with therapy has been great. It gives me a place to reflect and a chance to explore different perspectives on my life with someone that I trust. I know that I've often wished to be like someone else, and that being facilitated by social media. I felt like I was constantly being flooded with more proof that I wasn't good enough through forums like Facebook and Instagram. But you can't judge a book by its cover, and you can't judge a person's life through an Instagram filter. The most important thing is to find out what's right for you, and you need to make your own criteria for a happy life. Loving yourself will help you to love others better, so be yourself and appreciate yourself. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you liked it and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button and hit your notification bell as well. If you have any suggestions or want to share your past experiences, leave a comment below. I will be doing some follow-up videos on this topic, so if you have any questions, leave them here. I might approach them, I might try to answer them. If you have any advice that you need, anything that you would like to know from me personally, leave it all in the comment section. I will get to it as soon as I can, if I can, and thank you. I'm Leah Tries, and I'll see you next time.